The latest news about the Lions is simply incredible, a shocking change in the coaching staff that could impact Detroit's future, and that's just the beginning. As a player who finally shined on offense after weeks of frustration, and even a shakeup in the front office that could yield great results in the future. You'll want to know how all of this connects, and it all starts with a decision that nobody expected. So, the Giants just dropped a bombshell. Brian Daboll, gone, fired mid-season. And while New York's been a mess for weeks, this move might actually have more impact on the Detroit Lions than anyone expected. The Lions are gearing up to face the Giants at Ford Field in Week 12, and the timing of this firing couldn't be crazier. The Giants have been banged up all year. Rookie QB Jackson Dart showing flashes, Cam Scatabo out, Malik Neighbors hurt again. It's been a train wreck. So New York finally pulled the plug on Daboll, the same guy who built a reputation as Josh Allen's right-hand man in Buffalo before trying to prove he could do it alone. Now here's where it gets spicy for Detroit. Dan Campbell's been cooking lately, especially since he took over play calling duties in Week 10. You remember that 44-22 beatdown of Washington? That was Campbell grabbing the headset and saying, "All right, boys, watch this." But while it worked beautifully, it also exposed something. John Morton, the current offensive coordinator, might be on borrowed time. And guess who's suddenly available with a reputation for offensive fireworks? Yeah, Brian freaking Daboll. When Daboll was running things in Buffalo, that offense was electric. But let's be real, Josh Allen deserves a lot of that credit. And behind the scenes, Daboll wasn't exactly the easiest guy to work with. His fiery, in-your-face coaching style rubbed some people wrong. And that's where the fit question comes in. Because Jared Goff, he's the opposite type of guy. Goff thrives under Campbell's steady hand, tough but trusting, intense but never chaotic. It is a balance that brought out the best in him since that rough 2021 season when he clashed with Anthony Lynn. So the idea of bringing in someone like Daboll, the guy who loves to bark and demand control, could be like throwing gas on a fire that finally calmed. Still, let's not pretend it's all bad news. The idea of pairing Campbell's leadership with Daboll's offensive mind is tempting. It's like mixing grit with genius. High risk, high reward, and even if it doesn't happen, you can bet Daboll's name is now circled in Detroit's front office. They've seen what happens when they hand Campbell the reins, but they also know he can't do everything forever. Meanwhile, the immediate effect of this firing could be felt in Week 12. The Giants promoted Frank Kafka to interim head coach. And you know how these situations go. Teams play angry, desperate, ready to ruin someone's day. So the Lions better not treat this like a free win. New York still has a nasty pass rush. And if Jackson Dart can't go after that concussion, we might see Russell Wilson, yes, that Russell Wilson, under center. He's not the same guy from his Seattle days, but he can still throw a wrench into your plans if you take him lightly. And if that coaching chaos wasn't enough drama, the next story's a whole different vibe. Because when Dan Campbell grabbed the play sheet, the Lions' offense absolutely exploded. Alright, so let's talk about what happened when Dan Campbell decided to grab the damn playbook himself. One little switch, and boom, the Lions' offense turned into a fireworks show. Over 500 total yards, 44 points. And for the first time all season, Jameson Williams looked like the dude we were promised. Williams went off, 119 receiving yards, 6 catches, a touchdown, and every single one of those receptions went for more than 10 yards. The guy was cooking. He even ripped a 41-yarder in the third quarter that had the entire stadium on its feet. The only incompletion? A throw from the backup QB when the game was already wrapped up. Classic. And man, fans have been waiting for this version of JMO since that big contract extension dropped before the season started. For weeks, everyone's been like, where's that game breaker speed? Where's the chemistry with Goff? And finally, it all came together. Now, it's not like Campbell pulled some magic trick. What really changed was rhythm and confidence. The dude took control, simplified things, and just let his players play. And when you give Jameson Williams that kind of freedom, good luck trying to cover him. After the game, Campbell couldn't stop smiling. He said, "He's been unbelievable. We just hadn't connected. Today we got him going." And you could feel it. He wasn't just hyped about one big game. He was proud of the grind, the patience, the chemistry finally clicking. Goff echoed it too, calling Williams incredible and saying he was locked in all week. He even called his speed a cheat code, which honestly might be the most accurate way to describe him. When Williams gets into open space, it's game over. He's that fast. It's crazy how one change in play calling can flip everything. The offense just looked alive, confident, sharp. They weren't overthinking, they were attacking. Campbell trusted his instincts and his guys fed off that energy. That's exactly what this team needed. A reminder that when they play loose and aggressive, they can hang with anybody. Now, here's the real test. Next week, they're going up against the defending Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. That's not the Commanders. That's a defense built to destroy momentum. So the big question is, can the Goff-Williams connection keep this going against a top-tier opponent? If they can, if this was the real turning point, then Detroit just might have found the spark that could carry them deep into the season. Because for one Sunday at least, everything clicked. The Lions offense looked unstoppable. Jameson Williams finally looked like a star, and Dan Campbell reminded everyone exactly why this team believes in him. And while things are heating up on the field, there's some sneaky good news off it too. The kind of front office move that could quietly give the Lions a nice bonus for the future. Alright, this one is not about touchdowns or highlight reels. It is about something way less sexy but way more important, the NFL's weird compensatory pick formula. Yeah, that bizarre math equation that somehow decides who gets bonus draft picks for losing players. And guess what? The Detroit Lions are this close to landing a free 4th rounder in 2026. Here's how it works. When a team loses a compensatory free agent, basically a player whose contract ends and signs somewhere else, the league sometimes rewards that team with an extra draft pick. But if that team signs another big name free agent to replace the guy who left, those moves cancel each other out unless the replacement doesn't play enough snaps. Then boom, you get the pick back. And that's exactly the weird little loophole that's about to pay off for Detroit. See, when cornerback Carlton Davis left the Lions, they brought in DJ Reed. On paper, that should have wiped out the compensatory pick, but Reed's been hurt for most of the season. According to Nick Corta, the guy who basically is the comp pick expert over at Over the Cap, Reed hasn't played anywhere near enough snaps to cancel out Davis' departure. And now, his return timeline just got pushed back even further. Even if Reed comes back at the start of December, he'd still only hit about 25% of the snaps needed to change the math, which means unless something wild happens, the Lions are in line for that 4th round bonus. Not bad for a technicality, huh? Now, it's not official yet. The NFL's comp formula is like trying to read alien code. Nobody fully understands it until the league confirms it, but based on everything we know, Detroit's sitting pretty. And let's be honest, a 4th round pick isn't just pocket change. Brad Holmes has been killing the draft lately, and having one more chip to play with could be a big deal. You can use it to grab a developmental player, add depth, or even trade up for a bigger prize. This is how good teams stay good. It is not just what happens on Sunday, but it's how they manage every little detail behind the scenes. So while the rest of the NFC is sweating over injuries and mid-season chaos, Detroit might quietly be stacking assets for the future. A free pick, a hot offense, and a head coach who's got the whole locker room believing. Yeah, things are starting to line up nicely in Motown. Daboll's gone, Jamo's cooking, and the Lions might even score a bonus draft pick. This team on fire from every angle. But what do you think? Is this the start of something special or just a hot streak? Hit subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.